Hey guys, it's Shani, and today I wanted to talk to you about matte fluid acrylics from Golden. Alright, so I'm going to show you all a project I made with them, going to talk a bit about it, but before we get too far into it, let's talk about specifically what it is. So alright, let's just break down the name, matte fluid acrylic. Let's start with acrylic. So what is that? We probably know this, but it's going to be a paint that has a, it's got a polymer binder to it, and it's going to go down on your surface and it's going to create a film that's waterproof. So it's going to not be one that is going to re-wet like a watercolor. It's one that you can water down, but it's not going to have the same look and feel as a watercolor. It also dries quickly, which is so nice after working with oils. So like put down a layer and then be able to just work on top of that. But so nice. Alright, so that's going to be an acrylic. We probably know this already. Alright, so next, a matte. What is matte? Well, we've got shiny and then we got matte. It just refers to the finish of it. So acrylics usually come kind of shiny, and shiny's great, but for my kind of personal aesthetic with the art making, I like to have a matte finish. So you can have a matte finish just straight from the tube with the matte fluid acrylics. There's also matte heavy body acrylics. You can also mattify a regular acrylic by adding something like a medium to it, a matte medium, or you could add a matte gel. So the reason why you might want to just go straight from the tube, however, would be this is more convenient because it's already mixed up for you, and also this is going to have a higher pigment load than if you take a tube of paint and add a matte medium to it, because when you're adding this medium, there's no color in this. So this is going to have a higher pigment load. So my advice is, if you're really interested in just having a uniformly matte finish on your painting, invest in matte paint. Another thing you can do is when you're done with your painting, you can put some matte gel on top or a matte varnish, and that will make the finish of it uniform. Alright, the next thing is the fluid. It's got a fluid consistency. So Golden comes in several different forms. One of them is fluid like this, and the one that we think of the most is heavy body. So when we put heavy body down, it comes straight from the tube, you squeeze it out, it's got brush strokes in it, you get lovely textures and all of that. So a fluid texture is going to be a little bit runnier. So it's not runnier because it's watered down. There's the same pigment load in both of them. This one just has a runnier binder in it. I like this because I don't really care for brush strokes. I'm not interested in building up texture, and I like a smooth painting experience. I don't really want to feel that drag on my brush. So that is why the fluid kind of consistency is my favorite. So why do we need to know all of this? It's because acrylics come in so many different forms, which is what makes them so cool, is that they can be really customized to your own painting experience. So, you know, if you've tried one form of acrylics and didn't care for it, maybe try a different one. This is my favorite form of acrylic. The last thing about it is the packaging. I really love this packaging because it's really convenient. So you just unscrew the top, you squeeze some out like it's a ketchup bottle, screw that top back on. You're definitely going to want to do this because you don't want the paint to dry inside the lid and that it gets all like gummed up and gross after a while. Okay, so real fast, let's talk about what I made with these products. I made two pet portraits, one for my brother, one for my sister. So the first one was a painting of my brother's cat, Hot Dog, and I had a surface that I had already done some crazy stuff with some acrylics to a while back, and then I was like, oh, that'd be great to put that pet portrait on. So that's what I started with for my brothers. And then I got a little shy while I was painting, and I ended up turning off the camera. I was just feeling a little rusty. It had been a while since I had worked with acrylics. I need to quit doing this because I can just delete the footage if it doesn't turn out. But anyways, that's the painting of my brother's cat. Next, I started working on my sister's dog. I think his name is Sam, and yeah, I enjoyed this one because the dog's a little fluffier, and it's really nice to work on fluffy animals with an opaque medium. I've found painting hair and painting animals to be kind of frustrating with watercolors, and I rarely do it, which probably means I should do it more. But anyways, yeah, this is my sister's dog, Sam. So I was interested in the matte fluid acrylics as an alternative to gouache. So before we get into it, what is a gouache? A gouache is going to be an opaque watercolor, which means it has a gum arabic binder, which means that it's water soluble. So you're painting your layers of gouache, and when you put down a wet layer on top of a dry layer, you can reactivate that dry layer and things can blend together, for better, for worse. For me, if I'm gonna work in an opaque medium, I would like for my layers to stay put. So in comes acrylic gouache or acrylic gouache. So what is an acrylic gouache? Well, as far as I can tell, an acrylic gouache, like Holbein's acrylic gouache or Liquitex's acrylic gouache, is really just a matte fluid acrylic. It's all the same thing. I could be wrong on this. I've not used the other two products, but I've researched into it and they appear to me to be the same as this product. Are matte fluid acrylics, are they an alternative to gouache? No. They handle differently. They handle like an acrylic. Now, are matte fluid acrylics an alternative to acrylic gouache or acrylic gouache? Yes, it's the same thing. That is my findings on it. If you go into it expecting to use them in pans or expecting it to be a water media experience, I don't think it really performs like that. I think it performs as its own thing. It performs like an acrylic. I didn't find myself wanting to water this down. I like the opacity of this. If I wanted transparency, I would just work in watercolor. So I feel like this is its own thing. And yeah, it's an acrylic painting experience. If you're using it expecting it to be like a watercolor, it's not going to do that for you. If you're frustrated that it dries too fast, you know, it's not like an oil. It's going to be frustrating. It's its own thing. It's matte fluid acrylics. And by, you know, I say it's its own thing, but actually it's an acrylic gouache or an acrylic gouache. It's all the same. So I really enjoyed using these. This for me is my favorite way to paint with acrylics. I recommend them if you are looking for an acrylic painting experience but want it to be smoother and you want it to have a unified matte finish. So yeah, those are my thoughts on golden matte fluid acrylics. I liked the way that my paintings turned out. I think they appear to look like a gouache painting. It's not quite the same. They have a little bit more of a sheen to it. It's not that ultra flat matte, but it's not gonna flake off like gouache can do when you start layering it up. It's gonna be a bit more durable, and yeah, you get all of the benefits of working with an acrylic, and you get something that looks, I would say, 90% like a gouache painting. So I don't know, take it for what it's worth. If you are just absolutely in love with the way gouache performs, then this probably isn't right for you. If you are like me and find the watercoloriness of gouache to be frustrating, then maybe try this. So, I don't know, just different products. I know we're all doing different kinds of things. I do like the golden matte fluid acrylics, and I'm excited to play with them some more in the future. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all the stuff. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe, all the YouTube-y things. And I'll see you next time for whatever video I make next. Bye!